I have a problem. I love kitchen knives, but here's the thing. You technically don't need all of these. Neither do I. Today I'm going to show you 3 things when it comes to kitchen knives, and those are which knives I actually recommend that you have if you're starting out, how to properly use them, and how to take care of them. Now let's say you're new to cooking, or you just moved out of your parents' house, you just graduated college, what have you, and you need to set up your kitchen. There are 3 knives that you should consider, and honestly you could probably just get by with the first one. First off, we have the GOAT, the chef's knife, sometimes also referred to as a Gyuto. Typically these will come in 8 to 10 inches or longer. Now the size that you want just really depends on your preference, what feels most comfortable to you. With someone with very small hands, something a little bit longer like this might not feel as comfortable as something like this. And this knife can do it all. Meat, vegetables, anything you can think of, even some softer breads. When it comes to selecting a chef's knife, this is one of the places where I recommend saving up and buying the best one that you can afford. Before I bought this one, I always used cheap knives, and I kept running into the same problem. After a few weeks to a month, either the handle would start to slip off, or the blade would become dull quickly and would not take a new edge because it was cheap steel. So I finally saved up and invested in a real kitchen knife. And the first time I picked this up, I could tell it was something different. It just felt good in my hand, and over a decade later, it's still going strong, and I still use it often. Not as often as I probably should, because I have other knives that I like to use, but this thing is a workhorse and it still works for about anything that you can think of. The next knife that you should consider is a paring knife, also sometimes referred to as a petty knife. This is a great little knife that you can use for work in the hand if you're comfortable with it. It's also great for specialized jobs like decorative work or even breaking down a chicken. But to be honest, the chef's knife can do most of what this can. And the last one that I'll recommend, and I use that word lightly, is a serrated bread knife. This is great for crusty loaves of bread, but honestly, that's really all I would use this for. And a lot of people say that you need one of these to cut your tomatoes. If you can't cut tomatoes with your chef's knife, then you need to sharpen it. With a serrated knife, I actually recommend buying cheaper, because unless you have the tools or the skills, you can't really sharpen these at home. I have this thing, it's beautiful, I love it, but it's completely unnecessary. Whenever this thing does become dull, I'm going to have to send it off to be sharpened, and that might not be something that you want to fool with. Now the last thing that I'll touch on, since you saw so many knives on my wall, is that there are specialty knives that have certain jobs that they're good for. But those are specialty tools, and you don't necessarily need those. The 3 that I recommended can pretty much do all that those can do. Now that we know what kind of knives you need, we need to talk about how to use them, because you do not want to lose a finger. Most people naturally grab a knife like this, and it makes sense. It's literally called the handle. But holding it way back here gives you less control. Instead, take your pointer finger and your thumb and pinch the blade right above the handle. Then wrap your remaining fingers comfortably around the handle. This is called a pinch grip. Now the knife should feel more like an extension of your hand. Now let's talk about the hand that you should be slightly more concerned about, and that's the one sitting directly in front of the blade. Curl your fingertips in and keep your thumb tucked safely behind them. And then this first knuckle on your middle finger is going to be our guide. You'll notice that there is a gap from that first knuckle down to the produce, and that basically keeps us safe. We're going to glide the knife along that knuckle, and we'll always know where it's at, and there's no risk of hitting our fingers. There are a couple of basic ways that you can move the knife. The first is a rocking motion, also called a rock chop, and you'll keep the front of the blade in contact with the board and rock the knife back and forth through the food. Now I personally tend to lean more towards a push cut. I'm moving the knife down and slightly forward until I make complete contact with the board. Then I lift, come back, and repeat. Once you get that rhythm down, you'll start to move a little faster, but remember, speed is not the goal, control is. Speed will come later. Now that you've bought a good knife, you know how to use it, let's talk about how to take care of it. Knife maintenance starts with something that actually isn't even your knife, And that's the surface that you're cutting on. You shouldn't be cutting on your counters because that material is not good for the knife, and also you're going to ruin your counters. They make these cheap little plastic boards. They are great on the edge of your knife. However, I do not recommend them because as you use the knife, you're going to scar this up. You're going to remove little pieces of plastic, and that's going to get all in your food. And yes, I bought this just for the example. Still has a tag. Now, when you go to the store and look at the cutting boards, you might see some options for glass or stainless steel. Avoid those at all costs. They are going to obliterate the edge of your knife, and you're going to have to sharpen way more often. In my mind, there's only one option, and that's wood. It's durable, yet still easy on the edge of your blade, and it looks nice. When it comes to cleaning, it's simple. Wash your knives by hand and then dry them immediately. Do not toss a good kitchen knife in the dishwasher, and don't leave it sitting in water. Also, please do not leave your knife sitting in the sink. It's a trap for the next person that goes rummaging through it. And if you've made it this far in the video, say it with me in the comments. Wash it, dry it, put it away. As far as knife storage, there are a few options. They make countertop knife blocks that you can use. They make in-drawer knife blocks that keep them separated, or my personal preference, a magnetic strip. It keeps the blades separated and you get to look at them. You should never, ever throw an uncovered knife in a drawer. It's going to bang around with the other utensils, it's going to dull, roll, or it could possibly even chip. Not to mention the same situation as a sink. If someone runs their hand in that drawer, it's going to get them. And that pretty much has us covered on what knives you need, how to use them, and how to take care of them. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them down in the comments and I will try to get to them as soon as possible. And make sure that you subscribe because I'm working on a sharpening video, so I'll be able to show you what to do when your knives eventually do become dull. Thanks for watching.